If you are interested in my videos, please subscribe. After the success of the Lion King game on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, Disney knew they had to have more Lion King games. Not all of them were platformers like the original, but with the release of the Lion King 2, it was time to make another Lion King platformer to work as a sequel to the SNES/Mega Drive game. Despite the popularity of some Disney games on Nintendo and Sega consoles, this time Sony's PlayStation console was their main focus, because it sold much more than the Nintendo and Sega consoles of that generation. This time Activision was tasked with publishing the game, and Activision does not always mean good quality, does it? The Lion King 2 is not as big of a success as the Lion King 1, but at least some people respect the Lion King 2. But when you compare Simba's Mighty Adventure to the game that it was supposed to be a sequel to, it's a big failure. The first game was a critical and financial success, but not this one. With a score of 3 out of 10, this game is considered a disaster. I was caught off guard when I realized that, because I played this game as a kid and I remember really enjoying it. So I guess now as an adult, I need to revisit the game and see if people were too harsh on it, or was this game really that bad. Since this game is not easily available on everywhere like the previous Lion King game that I talked about, I played this game on my laptop through the Dock Station emulator with a PS5 controller. And also don't worry about the Lion King games that are not platformers. I will review every single Lion King game eventually, but right now the platformers are my focus, so let's start. This game isn't just an adaptation of the Lion King 2, it's actually an adaptation of both Lion King 1 and 2. So that means that just like the first game, we will start this game at the beautiful savanna of Pride Lands. And again we need to help Simba reach Mufasa to see the everything the light touches scene. And I think I shouldn't have called it the beautiful savanna of Pride Lands, because it is Pride Lands, but it definitely isn't beautiful. You know, if this game was released in 1996 or sooner, I would be fine with it, because at least I could come up with the excuse that it was an early PS1 game, so 3D was a new concept in the world of gaming. Even though Crash Bandicoot was released at that year, but not everyone is as talented as Naughty Dog. But the thing is, this game was released at the year of 2000. Even if it was released at 1998, at least their excuse would be that the game had to be rushed so that it would be there next to the Lion King 2 VHS. But it was released 2 years after the movie. If they were already 2 years too late, why was this game still rushed? These models don't look good. When I played this game for this review, I realized that I had one of the worst cases of nostalgia blindness. I remembered these 3D models to be much more detailed. In my mind, they look like the models from the PS2 Kingdom Hearts games. But in reality, man, these 3D models are ugly. So without even needing to talk about the gameplay, I can already see where the hate of this game comes from. The first game was one of the best looking games of the time, but this game even by PS1 standards look ugly. But the graphics are not everything. If the gameplay is good, then I am willing to forgive the ugliness. So let's see how the gameplay is. You can move with the D-pad or the left analog stick. There are collectibles that gives you points, with each color having a different value. You need 100 points to unlock the next level. But don't worry, even on a very casual run, that is an easy task. Even if a young kid finishes a level in this game, he or she would have collected enough collectibles to have enough points. But if you are not a child, then try to collect them all so that the game wouldn't be a boring brain-dead experience. Also, I should mention that the movement controls aren't as responsive, and I don't know if that's because of the lack of polish or because they were trying to recreate the movement of the first game in this one. It is not bad, but don't expect a movement as smooth as the movement of the likes of Crash and Spyro. You can jump with the cross button, and there is a little bit of a momentum to it. you can jump slightly higher if you were running before jumping. You will see Nala and she will tell you this. But it's a little bit too late because you already had to jump in order to reach her. Be careful with your movement though, because hitting a wall kills the flow. There are 5 letters that you can collect to form the name Simba, probably inspired by Donkey Kong Country. You will see your first enemy, which is a bug. You can roar at it with the circle button to kill it. Killing enemies will also give you points. In each level, there are 500 points to collect, and that includes the points that you will get by killing enemies. So if you want to 100% a level, you need to collect everything and kill every single enemy. Also, collecting 100 points gives you an extra life. Then you will see lizards that you should jump on them to kill them. After that, you will see fruits that you can collect to unlock minigames. You will reach Mufasa and he tells you how to roll, which again is too late to say. Zazu is the checkpoints of this game. You can collect meat to fill your health bar. You will see Scar, and I think it's a good time to say that the voice acting of this game isn't anything special. I think none of the voice actors of the movies returned for this game, so they just tried to mimic their voices and yeah, they failed at it. Scar tells you that you can roll with the square button. You can use it as an attack, but I think roaring and jumping are more useful. You can use the roll to kill the bugs, but for more powerful enemies like hyenas and lionesses, you could end up damaging yourself. But you can roll before jumping to reach a slightly higher place. You will see Scar again later in the level, and this time he will teach you how to pounce. If you jump and then roll in the air, you can pounce on enemies. That's what Scar says, because it doesn't actually work. I think they ran out of time and they couldn't implement this function correctly. Sometimes I use the pounce to correct my jumps, but as far as combat is concerned, a regular jump is more useful than pouncing. Not that I'm complaining, it's actually funny because they accidentally got Scar's personality right. Then you will meet Nala again, and she tells you that you can grab from the edges of platforms. So yeah, on paper this is a sequel to the 16-bit game, because it brings back almost every mechanic from that game. At the end of the level, you will reach Mufasa, and I think here I should mention that the worst thing about this game is the long loading screens. If you are not a patient person, then don't play this game. Also, this game uses random clips from the movies to tell the story. Then it will show how many points and other things you have collected, and again it takes a long time. The second level is the elephant graveyard. You need to escape the hyenas, and you will start with a 2D section. The common enemies of this level are hyenas and vultures. This part contains a top and a bottom section, and if you want to complete the level, you need to explore both of them. You will see holes that lava would come out of them, and you should be careful when you jump over them. And hyenas from afar that would throw bombs at you, so be careful when you cross their path. And moving platforms on lava. After a while, you will reach the second half of the level, which is in 3D. At the end of the level, you will have a boss fight encounter with Shenzi, Banzai and Ed. And I am being nice by calling it a boss fight because they aren't different from regular enemies. Now we reach the horrifying part of the first movie as the third level. You need to run away, but unlike the first game, it is not an auto runner. It's still a traditional level, you just need to run towards the camera. Here, because you should be careful of the wild beasts, killing all the enemies which are J-called in this level, and collecting all the collectibles are a little bit of a challenge. If it takes too long to kill the J-calls, they will run away, so you would probably need to die to restart from the checkpoint. But that's not really a big concern, because if you die, you don't need to recollect the points. The biggest threats of this level are the boulders that can fall on you, because 2 or 3 of them are enough to kill you. Now Simba is an adult, but the gameplay isn't different. Nala is trying to hunt Pumbaa and you should save him, but the level is not on a time limit, so don't panic. Enemies of this level are monkeys that throw coconuts at you, and skunks, and hedgehogs that I think you can't jump on them, so you should roll instead. At the middle of the level, some boulders will fall down, be careful with them. And then there are some weird plants that you can use as a spring. At the end of the level, you will see Nala and Pumbaa. Now the final battle with Scar and the end of the first half of the game. And I don't have anything new to say because it's more of the same thing, except for the fight with Scar at the end of it. And again, the bosses of this game aren't that much different from regular enemies. Just sometimes you can't hit them and you should wait and dodge some boulders and logs to be able to fight them again. And some trash talking here and there. The funny thing is that the pouncing was actually useful for me in this fight. Now we reach the second half of the game. That is the only video game adaptation of The Lion King 2, and it has already time skipped to the adult Kiara parts of the movie. Simba has realized Kiara is around the fire, so now he is trying to rescue Kiara. Something that you wouldn't know if you skip all the cutscenes. In that case, you would think that you are saving Kiara right after defeating Scar, and this level is just 2D. The enemies are zebras and gazelles. They are more of an obstacle than an enemy, but you still need to kill them to get the points. You need to do some dangerous jumps to get all the points in this level. There are also some logs that you should dodge. But the most dangerous thing in this level are rhinos that you should jump on their back. But be careful not to touch their horns because they can instantly kill you. In this game, Simba is even more of a stalker. As you can see, Simba was there during the Rhino Chase moment. And this level is just like the Stampede level. And now the ambush scene. And this one is also in 2D. And now the final level. The section that Kiara and Zero fall down is a full level here. This level is the best level if you ask me because it is a challenge in comparison to the other levels. There are 2 roads in this level and you need to explore both of them to collect everything. Also in this level, you can build the momentum and keep a flow. For a few moments, this game feels like something like Crash 3 and it made me realize if this game was not rushed, it could become a really fun game. This game had the potential to be something great, but it wasn't developed enough to reach that potential. At the end of the level, you will fight Zero, and it's similar to the Scar boss fight. During the end credits, you can hear a music that you could also hear in the menus, and this one is a great music if you ask me. This game made original soundtrack instead of using chiptune version of the movie soundtrack, so you could expect mediocre music. And yeah, the music you hear in the levels are not bad, but not anything special either. But this one, this single music is really good. By finishing the final level, you can unlock a puzzle game that made me realize I am even dumber than what I thought. At the Rafiki section, there is a minigame called bug catching. In it, you play as Cub Simba. You can move his paw by going left and right and catch the bugs by pressing the cross button. You will lose by missing 3 bugs. There are 3 more mini games that you can buy with the fruits that you collected from the levels. Matching game is a matching game in which you play as Cub Kiara. Martial arts is a minigame in which you play as Rafiki. Hyenas are attacking him from different directions and you should press 1 or a combination of directional buttons and cross to attack the hyenas. Meerkat Bash is a variation of whack-a-mole. You play as Pumbaa and you can move him with the D-pad and press the cross button to sit on a meerkat. Do it while you are moving for a faster results. And here we are. So, is Simba's Mighty Adventure a bad game? Yes. But is it 3 out of 10 bad? No. It is more of a 6 out of 10 bad if you ask me. But here's the thing. To me, a 6 out of 10 game is a game that is bad by default. But to the right people, it can be an enjoyable experience. I agree that it is a bad game, but I would be lying to myself if I said I didn't enjoy it. And I think there are 3 reasons for that. First, the fact that I love The Lion King. Just being able to control a Lion King character is enjoyable for me. Second is me loving platformers. It's a genre that even a mediocre game in it is good enough in my eyes. And third is that I love the PS1. An ugly low poly model still has a charm to me. So I guess just like me, if you love, and I should emphasize that you should love, not just like, the Lion King, platformers, and PS1, then you should check this game out. But even if there is one of these three that you don't love, then you don't need to play this game. You could play Toy Story 2 on the PS1 instead. That game is fun for everyone. So yeah, I still love Simba's Mighty Adventure, but I know it is in fact a bad game. Not that bad, but it's still a bad game. I would love to see some sort of a remake or a Lion King game similar to it to fully realize its potential. Or at least have a Disney Pixar PS1 collection. That would be nice. I mean, everyone would just buy to play the Toy Story 2 game, but I think that's a good excuse to make them play the other Disney and Pixar games on the PS1 as well. But that's all I have to say for now. Next time, I will talk about the Game Boy Color version of Simba's Mighty Adventure. So, if you are interested to see me talk about that game or the other Lion King games or anything Lion King related, subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss the next video. Thanks for watching.